Leaders at the G7 last week pledged an additional $4.5 billion to address what the Secretary General of the United Nations is calling an unprecedented global hunger crisis. But aid organizations are warning it won't be enough as Russia's war in Ukraine severs supply lines and inflation continues raging. CBS News foreign correspondent Debora Patta is in South Sudan with this report.
Hunger is a never-ending season in South Sudan. For 3 years, this country has been battered by one climate change shock after another. Apocalyptic flooding in the north, crippling drought in the southeast. Millions were already starving. Then came the war in Ukraine, triggering the UN's biggest humanitarian crisis this century as food and fuel prices soared, tipping this country over the edge. In Wheat, floodwaters have still not receded.
I'm standing in a place where people used to live. These were their homes. This was the land that they used to cultivate and live off. And now it's completely submerged underwater.
Sarah Nyawal's entire village is gone. She has nothing to eat but the water lilies she's collecting. In the community of Canal PG, every child brought to nutritionist Mona Sheikh during our visit was severely malnourished.
I'm afraid, any child like that, we are very close to losing them within days.
There was Nyanjima Gatlak, who walked for over a month to get food for her weak and listless 8-month-old baby Kang. And Nyabani Kong, who's already lost one child to hunger and hasn't eaten for 2 weeks. Her mother-in-law Nyakoni is wasting away. Battling almost impossible odds, the World Food Programme is doing its best. But since Russia invaded Ukraine, their costs have risen exponentially. WFP's Marwa Awad says they've been forced to suspend aid to nearly 2 million of the 6 million people they feed here.
We're having to do humanitarian triage. This is the worst thing that any humanitarian or aid worker has to do. We must do something to help.
Subsistence farmer Nachapara Lemuria's own mother starved to death. This was her last bag of food rations for the year. It will be finished in 2 weeks. Just tell the world we need food, she implored. And when you visit again, she said, we will smile and tell stories of how we survived and find ways to help others in need. No one should die of hunger. There's enough food to feed everyone on earth. The stories we heard continue to haunt us. The people of South Sudan, the world, must not forget.
Debora Patta reporting in South Sudan.